Notes has its rest, and the rest has the same value of the note. So if the note is 8 beats, if the 8 note is 8 beats, the rest is also 8 beats, which means you rest for 8 beats. So if the note is 1, 2, 3, 4, the rest is also 4 beats. You rest for 4 beats, which means you do that in your mind, which is which means you are not playing anything for the same duration of time. And so each note has its own rest symbol. So the double note has its rest symbol. This is the note. The double note, I told you the Americans call it double note, and then the British call it brief. The British call it brief. So this brief, 2 strokes at each end with an oval shape in the middle. This is its rest. Now, its value, time value, is for what? Beats. Time value is 4 beats. So the rest also will be 4 what? So this rest is telling you when not to play. So anytime you see this symbol, on the staff, shaded, it looks like this golden stool something. That is the rest sign for the double note. Okay, that's the rest sign for the double note. And so if the note is 4 beats, that's the time value of this note. Okay? Or yes. So the same time value applies for the rest of this note. So if this is 8 beats, sorry. Oh, you picked 8 beats, sorry. 8 beats. It's not 4 beats, 8 beats. It means you'll be resting for 8 beats. Okay? It means you'll be resting for 8 beats. Let's look at the next note, which is whole note. Okay, the Americans call it whole note. The British call it semi-brief. It is 4 beats. 4 beats. 4 beats. What is its rest sign? Its rest sign looks like a bat. Okay, this is how it looks like, with a shaded portion of it like this. This is the rest sign. So this is the rest of this note, which is the double note or the brief, and this is the rest for the whole note. So I told you the time value for this note is the same time value for the rest of the note. So if this is 4, this is also 4. If this is 8, this is also 8. Okay, so you rest for 8 beats. If it's whole note, you rest for 4 beats because the note is 4, the rest is also 4. Let's look at the next one, the meaning. The meaning. Okay, the meaning is 2 beats. 2 beats. What is rest? Its rest sign is also what? 2 beats. Okay? It looks like a car. Or yes, a car. Okay? Yes. That's how it looks like. This is the rest sign for the half note. Let's come to the quarter note, which the British call crochet. The British call crochet. Okay? What's the time value? 1 beat. 1 beat. And this rest sign looks like a thundering bolt. Okay? That's this rest sign. That's how it looks like. And so when you see these rest signs, what it's telling me is that the same value for the note is the same value for the rest sign. So when you see this rest sign, it means you rest for 1 beat. When you see this rest sign for the half note, it means you rest for 2 beats. So if it's going 1, 2, it's telling you don't play anything for that same time duration. Okay? Then let's look at the 8th note. The 8th note. The Americans call it 8th note. The British call it quaver. It has 1 flat. Okay? 1 flat. The 8th note has 1/2 beats. 1/2 beats. And this is its rest sign. This is rest sign. This is how the rest sign is. Okay? And so when you see this rest sign, it means don't play rest. Don't play anything for 1/2 beats. Okay, let's look at the last one. Notes and their rest. So the last note is 16th note. That's what the Americans call it. The British call it semi-quaver. It's 1/4 beat. 1/4 beat. And it has the same time value. And that one, the symbol is double of this. Okay, double of this. This is a symbol. What it's telling you is that anytime you see these symbols in your staff, it's telling you don't play anything for the same time value of the notes. Okay? Same time value for the notes. Let's quickly move on to dotted notes. Dotted notes. Dotted. Okay. Dotted. So we are okay. So this is notes and their rest. Notes and their rest. Notes and their rest. Let's look at our next topic quickly. Let's look at dotted notes. Dotted notes. Dotted notes. Now we have already done all these things, but we are just recapping, trying to revise so that you remember all this, so you will not forget. Okay? Dotted notes. Now, dotted notes, as the name implies, tells us that let's say we have a half note. Okay? Now this is the head of the note, and this is the stem of the note. The head and the stem. Okay, so this is a half note. Now, when we say every note has its duration, like you have indicated before, each note has its duration. Each note has what? Its duration and length of time that one has to hold the notes and play. Now, some notes okay. This one I'm looking for. Now, each note has its length of time. Now, a dot next to a note tells us to lengthen the note by half again. A dot next to a note tells us to lengthen the note by half again, or extend the value of the note, half of the value of that note. Do you understand? Let me take it again. A dot next to a note tells us to extend or lengthen the note by half again. For example, this is half note. If you divide half note, you know the value of the half note is equal to 2 beats. So when we divide 2 into 2, 2 into 2, it will be 1. We'll have 1. So 2 divided by 1 is what? 3 divided by 2 is 1. That's the answer. And so it's telling you to lengthen this note half of the beat again. So what it means is that if you have a dotted half note, what it's telling you is that if you divide 2 into 2, you have 1. So add 1 to the 2. So what it means is that this is already 2 and the dot here is 1. So it will be what? 2 plus 1. This is already 2. And when you lengthen it half of the 2, you have 1. So this dot is equal to what? 1. I hope it's clear. It's 1. So this note is 2. Okay? And the dot here becomes what? 1. Let's take another example. Let's say we have a whole note here and we put a dot here. What it's telling you is that add half of this note to this note. Half, lengthen the length of the duration of this note by 2 again. So 4 divided by 2 equal parts will be 2. So this whole note is already 4 beats. 4 beats plus 2. See, so it's 4 plus 2 and it will be what? 6. To give you 6. So which means you are going to lengthen the value of this note 6. Is that clear? So a dotted note means add lengthen what? The note by half again, half the value of the note. So if the note is 1, half of 2 is what? 1. So add 1 to 2. And you have what? 3 beats. Okay? If it's a whole note, add half of the whole note. So we already know that the whole note is 4 beats. So half of the whole note will be 2. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4 is the value of the whole note. 4 is the value of the whole note. And they say add half of the whole note again to the whole note. So it will be 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4. That is what a dotted note means. So, if you have, let's say you have the quarter note. See, quarter note is equal to what? 1 beat. 1 beat. So, if it becomes a dotted note, then what it means is that you are going to lengthen this note by half of this note again. So it will be equal to what? 1. This is 1. This one here is 1 beat. Okay, this is 1 beat, right? The 1 beat. And the dot here will be what? Plus 1 over 2. Now if I should write these numbers in symbols, it will be what? Quarter note plus quiver. See, and it will give me what? 1 over 1 whole number, 1 over 2 what? Beats. Have you seen it? So this is what dotted notes is, as we have already done. Okay, this is what a dotted note means. So dotted notes, dotted notes, dotted notes. So the dot you find there is telling you to lengthen the note by half again. So a dotted half note or 2 beats is worth 3 beats. So a dotted 2 beats, okay, a dotted 2 beats is worth 3 beats. Is that clear? 3 beats. We have done all these things already, but we are just reminding ourselves of all these things. Now, we move on quickly to identification of musical instruments. And that's the last thing we are doing in class today. Grade 2. Grade 2. Okay? You remember we did identification of musical instruments. I'm going to start from here and then both. Okay. Instruments people then more but they don't like what a dotted note means. It means letting the chord, the note, half of the original note. Okay, lengthening the duration. So if it is half note, it means the dot there means 1. So it will be 2 plus 1, it gives you 3 beats. Okay, 3 beats. That's what a dotted note means. Now let's look at music, identification of musical instrument. Identification of musical instrument. What it simply means is that how to identify your musical instrument. And so the other day, you remember in class, I asked you that you mentioned various kinds of musical instruments. We wrote them on the board. Some of you wrote them in your books, you remember? Okay, but we are just revising. We are doing a revision of all that we have done. So I'm just taking you through quickly. This instrument you see here is called keyboard. The keyboard. Now the keyboard has various buttons on the key, on the instrument, on the keyboard. And you know, this differs from other keyboards. Now some have their volume controls at the left side of the piano, and the standby and on button on the left side. Others have it on the right side. So it will depend on the make of your instrument. But the basic thing about it all is they all have black and white keys. So this is a keyboard. This is a keyboard, electric keyboard or electronic keyboard. And it's different from the piano. Now if you remember, we went to the activity room the other time and we saw other musical instruments on the screen, the video screen. Do you remember? Okay. And so this is the electronic keyboard. Now let's come to the drums. Now, this is a set of drum. This is a set of drum. And this set of drum is made up of various other drums put together and cymbals put together. It's put together as a set of drums. And so let's look at it one by one. Now, you see this stand with a pedal and 2 cymbals on top of it. It's called top hi-hat. Top hi-hat. We have done it already, so you know this is called top hi-hat with a pedal. This is the snare drum. The snare drum, this is the drumsticks. This is the cymbal and its stand. This is the cymbal and this is the stand. This that you see here is called the tone. It's a single tone. Now some has double tone, some has even about 4. So this is a single tone drum. And the bass, this is the bass drum. This big one you are seeing is the bass drum. The bass drum. And this is the side drum or the tenor drum. This one that you see here, we have already done it, is the drum seat. The drum seat. Now, for the purpose of camera capturing, this is the bass drum pedal. The pedal for the bass drum. You put your legs on it and you hit it against the bass drum. So this put together is called a set of what? Drum. The bass drum, the tom, the side drum or the tenor drum, and then the snare drum, the hi-hats and the cymbals put together is called a set of drum. Now when you separate each one, it has its own name. Now this drum you see here is a percussion drum. A percussion drum. It's a percussion drum. Normally it's the Ghanaians who use it in Ghana. The Ghanaians use it a lot. They call it gumi. Gumi is a very beautiful instrument. It's a percussion drum. Then let me move on to the guitar. This is an acoustic guitar. See, this is an acoustic guitar, and we look at the detailing of it. The strings, this is an acoustic, is a string instrument. And so the strings are on. You have the frets. These are the frets. These lines you see are called frets. This is the neck of the instrument. Then you have the tuning pegs on top. The tuning pegs on top. We have already looked at all this, but we are just revising, trying to go back to remember all that we have done. And so, and other various musical instruments that we looked at. We looked at the saxophone, we looked at the tuba, the cornet, the trombone, and other musical instruments. We looked at the cornets, we looked at the flutes. Some of you even brought flutes to school the other time. See, some of you even brought flutes to show your friend. So we have various kinds of instruments. And we went to you remember we went to the activity room to look at them. And so keep learning, keep studying. It's going to be a time of exciting time. We'll be coming your home this time with all the lessons and all the things that you need to know. So keep learning. Until then, this is Uncle Sam. Bye-bye.